Bethesda aren't exactly in everyone's good graces at the moment. Fallout 76 was a watershed moment. Bethesda went from being an admired and respected games developer to one despised and laughed at by the community. It seems as if Bethesda has been infected with corporate greed. Fallout 76 represented more than anything a cash grab. Bethesda hoped to mimic the success of ESO because ESO is without a doubt the highest grossing Elder Scrolls game. ESO, love it or hate it, is riddled with cosmetic transactions and other microtransactions that make it an absolute cash cow. And with Fallout 76, what Bethesda released was half finished. At least ESO was playable. More than this, the company made a number of controversial decisions down the line from the release of Fallout 76, and these include issuing nylon duffel bags rather than the promised canvas ones, to underwhelming Nuka dark rum bottles that were way worse than the people who bought them expected. So here are 6 lessons I think Bethesda needs to learn for the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield to be both commercial and critical successes. Firstly, there's an obvious lesson. Bethesda have to shift their focus from making money to making excellent games. Games that are made with the mindset that they're just a way to produce wealth are almost always average or bad. From loot boxes to a rushed release, there are always deficiencies that come up with games made on such an approach. Bethesda need to simply focus on making an excellent Elder Scrolls 6 within itself, regardless of money. That's easier said than done, but as much as they are able to free themselves from their corporate overlords, they should. Financial issues aside, their focus should be making the best possible game they can as games developers, and this means designing a game that offers the best user experience for the player, namely no loot boxes or cosmetic transactions or expensive DLCs or a rushed release. Secondly, Bethesda need to realise that their main audience aren't idiots. Skyrim was massively successful, and rightly so, but many fans have been worried because of the fact that it was a simpler, more casual game compared to its predecessors. In link with the point above, it seems that Bethesda wanted to maximise their profits by having the widest target audience possible, including casual gamers. I have nothing against casual gamers, but the Elder Scrolls is an RPG franchise. By continuing the trend set by Skyrim, by removing attributes, and in general making the game simpler, they risk losing their core audience. I think I can claim to speak for most fans when I say that we want an in-depth game where we can truly roleplay. That means having greater customization and greater choice. In other words, it means making the game more complex, which many casual gamers might not like. Thirdly, Bethesda shouldn't be worried about making a morally complex or dark game. Those games are what do best in the RPG industry, and they enjoy some massive success. The Witcher 3 and Divinity 2 were both successful because they were complex. Almost like novels turned into games, they challenged their players morally, intellectually, and strategically. There were elements of this in Skyrim as well, but as I said above, if Bethesda continue on the quest of trying to appeal to a younger, more casual audience, they risk making a bland game. You simply can't have a good, visceral story if the game is just happy and epic. Assassin's Creed Odyssey comes to mind. I played that over summer and I massively enjoyed it, but it just wasn't complex enough in terms of the story. I want to see more of what Morrowind's story had to offer in the 6th game. Dagoth Ur was an amazing antagonist because you could sympathise with him. He actually made sense to an extent, and he was all the more awesome because he was developed. Alduin, on the other hand, was just evil. He was plain. We need a multifaceted villain in the next game. On a technical level, Bethesda need to use a completely new engine. It was frankly a joke that Fallout 76 was made on the same outdated engine as Fallout 4 and Skyrim. I know that Bethesda have promised to use a newer engine, but I just hope to God it's not as buggy as the last one. In any game there are going to be technical issues, but for Bethesda it seems to be a chronic problem. Every game they release is initially riddled with bugs, which in some cases make the game literally unplayable. Unfortunately, they have a reputation for this. By far one of Skyrim's most celebrated aspects was its soundtrack. Jeremy Soule is amazing. Skyrim has the best soundtrack of any game I've played. ESO's composer, Brad Derrick I believe, is good. Similarly, Fallout 4 soundtrack is great and Fallout 76 is pretty good, but I can guarantee you now that if Jeremy Soule isn't the composer for the next game, then fans will be pissed off because he's such a gifted musician. The lesson here, I guess, is not to do away with Jeremy Soule. He's amazing. I don't think the importance of music in an RPG should be underestimated. Finally, there's one thing common to the single player Elder Scrolls games. The combat sucks badly. Yes, shouts in Skyrim were cool, but the melee combat simply involved slashing at the enemy. In light of The Witcher 3's dynamic combat system and the swordplay in Kingdom Come Deliverance, it's a fallacy to think that RPGs have to have bad combat. I wasn't a massive fan of the combat in Kingdom Come. It felt a bit clunky. And obviously the combat in The Witcher 3 is unique to The Witcher, but Bethesda needs to up the ante for combat in their next game. Bringing in dodging, directional blocking, different attacks is necessary to make the game feel up to date. Bethesda should take inspiration from the best of other games, an assassination system like Odyssey or Shadow of War, a magic system like Divinity 2, and a directional combat system akin to that of Kingdom Comes would be sick. Those are my main 6 lessons for Bethesda. This might seem like a whiny video, but the reason I've made this in the first place is because I care. Bethesda have the potential to be the best RPG developers of all time, to reclaim the title they once had. The Elder Scrolls series is amazing and I want it to continue to be that way. That's why I made this video specifically, but also why I make most of my other critical videos on my channel. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more, then please do subscribe to my channel. There'll be another video next week. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.